60,000 throats roared as one, a wall of sound pressing down on a crumbling stadium. This was the match that would decide relegation or survival. Veteran defender Rio threw himself at the cross, but his arm extended too far. He swatted the ball, as if swatting hope itself.
Handball. Penalty kick.
Rio, you idiot. That was deliberate.
But on the goal line, Kenji could only click his tongue, the echolocation that revealed trajectories drowning in the cacophony.
The sounds won't separate. Every cheer tears through the web. I can't find the ball's voice.
Ready? Mute? Let's see if you can hear the net ripple.
Wait. The laces. I hear them. The breath. The weight shift, I have it.
Victor's golden boot struck the ground, laces straining. The strikers form a perfect weapon. The penalty spot was the loneliest place on earth. Kenji stood alone, his world reduced to a single, approaching heartbeat. Long before 60,000 voices crashed against his skull, Kenji learned silence. Born without a voice, the world expected him to fade.
A click from my tongue bounced off the wall. The echo painted the distance without light. I did it again.
By 10, he mapped his entire room by sound alone. Blindfolded, he could catch a ball tossed from any angle, just from the whisper of air.
The ball hung from a string, swinging silently. But the air it pushed, the tiny shift in pressure, whispered to my skin.
The neighborhood kids called him Freak, so Kenji fled to an abandoned pitch where the only noise was his own.
Every click was a question thrown into the dark. The echo answered with the truth of where things really were.
He hung a ball from the rusted crossbar and set it swinging. The echo traced its arc like a ghostly blueprint.
The day I stopped diving toward the posts and started diving toward the sound, that was the day I became a wall.
Under the sodium glow, mistakes became lessons. Each night he returned, until his body knew the sound before his brain did. No one knew about the mute boy on the forgotten pitch, but the game was about to learn that silence has a voice. Kenji sought out every club trial he could find. He would save every ball, then watch the scouts erase his name the moment they learned he could not speak. But deep in the lower tiers, a weary coach named Hamada had heard rumors of a keeper who played by sound alone. One night, he watched from the shadows.
He threw himself exactly where the ball would be, not where it was. That boy sees what we cannot.
After the session, the old man stepped onto the crumbled pitch. Kenji tensed, expecting another dismissal.
You don't need a voice to be heard. I need a keeper who can do the impossible. Will you come?
He didn't ask how I played. He just asked if I would. No one ever asked that.
Kenji pulled out a small whiteboard and wrote a single word. Yes. He underlined it twice. The contract was a scrap of paper. The club was drowning in debt, but for Kenji, it was the first door that had ever opened.
No one will understand at first, but let them watch. The goalposts don't matter to you, do they?
And so the mute keeper entered a world that spoke only in results. His legend began in silence, against a backdrop of disbelief. Kenji's first training session was a gauntlet. His teammates had heard about the mute keeper who clicked, and they arrived ready to mock.
A keeper who can't call for the ball? We're dead last, and now this joke?
Then, Ryo blasted a shot toward the top corner. Kenji's click sliced through the air a heartbeat before.
The echo bent right. The ball would swerve. I lunged toward the sound, not the post.
He tipped it over. The ball clattered against the fence. Then silence, and Rio spat on the ground.
Lucky freak.
That wasn't luck. He was moving before the shot curved. Did you see that?
Kenji clicked once more. The sound echoed in the stillness. He could hear Rio's teeth grinding from 20 yards.
A mute making a fool of me. He'll break. They all break.
The locker room split. Half the team avoided Kenji. The other half stared like he was a riddle they couldn't solve. Relegation loomed 3 matches away. 2 nights before the final match, Rio slipped away from the team dorm and headed into the old district. His footsteps echoed on damp cobblestones. A man in a long coat waited beneath a flickering lamp. He held a thick envelope, the kind that sealed fates. The fixer spoke 3 words that landed like stones. 1 handball, penalty. Ryo's jaw clenched, but he took the money. Kenji was walking the perimeter of the old training ground when the sound of voices reached him. He stopped, clicking once to listen.
That shape, Ryo. The echo is too scattered to catch words, but the tone, it reeks of conspiracy.
They'll hate me, but the club is already dead. One more loss won't change anything, and I need this.
The exchange lasted seconds. The fixer vanished into the fog, and Ryo tucked the envelope inside his jacket, as if it were a wound.
I have to warn the coach. But how? No words, no proof. They'll call it paranoia. I have to watch him.
Ryo walked back to the dorm as if nothing had changed, but the fix was already in motion. A silent countdown to the handball that would shatter the season. Kenji remained on the pitch long after midnight, clicking at an empty goal. The echoes returned with a truth he couldn't share. The morning of the final match broke gray and heavy. The locker room reeked of stale sweat and fear.
Forget the standings. Forget the noise. Today you prove you belong on this pitch.
Just 1 handball. They'll never know it was planned. The money is already hidden.
I have to tune my ears to the smallest echo. Every click, a question that must find its answer.
Your hearing is optimal, Kenji. Your ears are weapons today. Just remember to breathe between clicks.
You've been clicking non-stop. Are you okay, Kenji?
I am fine. I am listening to the stadium already. The noise is a wall I have to climb.
The bus ride was silent as a tomb. No one spoke, but the pressure of the coming match filled every breath.
The deal is sealed. 1 handball, and the season ends. I won't look back.
The tunnel swallowed them whole. The light at the end was blinding, and the roar of 60,000 crashed over them. Like a wave, the match exploded. Opponents attacked in waves, each roar from the crowd hitting Kenji like a hammer. Victor unleashed a shot. Kenji's click traced the spin, and he tipped it over with 1 hand.
The echo was thin, but the ball's rotation sang a different note. I heard it.
A low drive skidded through. Kenji dived and smothered it, the ball thudding as the crowd screamed. Then, a high cross curled in. The noise crushed his click. He misjudged, and a teammate cleared off the line.
Keep your line. You can't hear anything in this noise. Stay back.
1 more mistake, and they'll tear him apart. The noise is my best ally.
My skull is a bell. I have to separate the chance from the ball. Click.
Victor kicked the ground after Kenji parried his next shot. The mute was making a fool of the league's best. Kenji's sheet was clean, but the cracks were widening. Ryo drifted near the box, a storm brewing. Ryo drifted further from his mark, leaving the near post exposed. Kenji's click caught the void immediately.
That gap wasn't there a second ago. Ryo is opening the door on purpose.
Victor saw the hole and whipped a low cross. Kenji had to launch himself to parry, his fingertips just grazing the ball. As Kenji scrambled back, his eyes locked on Ryo. The veteran smirked, then flashed a subtle hand signal toward the striker. Victor nodded once. The message was clear. Target the far post with a high cross. Ryo would be there.
They're communicating. Ryo just gave him a target. I have to warn someone, but how?
Jin squinted, puzzled by Kenji's frantic gesturing. He shrugged and jogged back to midfield.
The mute can flap all he wants. No one understands his silence.
The next attack built from the left. Victor drifted wide, and the cross lifted into the box. Ryo backpedaled, arms already rising. Kenji's click screamed danger, but the ball was already in flight. The penalty area became a trap about to spring. The cross soared and Ryo launched himself, fist extended. He punched the ball with both hands, a blatant, deliberate strike.
Handball, penalty kick.
The crowd erupted. The noise slammed against Kenji's skull like a physical wall. shattering his click mid-echo.
That was deliberate. He punched it on purpose. You can't give a penalty for that.
They can't prove intent. I'm just a clumsy defender in a big moment. The money's already waiting.
Victor placed the ball on the spot, a predator savoring the inevitable. He winked at Kenji, a silent taunt.
The noise is a physical weight. Every click is swallowed. I can't map the ball if I can't hear my own tongue.
The protests died under the referee's unwavering arm. The decision was final. The penalty was all that remained. Kenji stood alone on the line, a single figure against the storm. The goalposts behind him felt irrelevant, a forgotten convention. Victor began his run-up. The world narrowed to the sound of a heartbeat, the scuff of boots, and a promise of calamity. Kenji's next click shattered against the wall of noise. The echo returned nothing but static.
Every click is swallowed. The ball could be anywhere. I am blind.
Then he stopped fighting the noise. He let it recede, searching for something smaller, the striker's breath.
The laces. They tighten with each step. A whisper of leather that the crowd cannot bury. I don't need the net. I need the sound of where the ball will not be.
His click transformed from a floodlight into a laser, targeting only the approaching striker.
A bead of sweat falls. The heartbeat quickens. The weight shifts, left, then center, then right.
Time warped. Victor's boots swung in slow motion. The world reduced to a single, inevitable sound.
The impact. The sound is a thread leading away from the posts. There, I have it.
He committed to the dive, not toward the net, but toward the echo that promised salvation. Kenji's dive was pure instinct, muscle memory carved by countless nights on the crumbling pitch, where the only light was a flickering street lamp.
The blindfolded drills, the jeers from the neighborhood kids, every echo I ever heard built this single moment.
He had trained without goalposts. The net was a distraction. The only frame that mattered was the sound.
The striker's boot connected. A sharp crack, a whisper of spin. It sang a trajectory that curved away from the posts.
The sound was a bell tolling, slicing through the crowd's roar like a knife. Kenji's body was already in motion.
There, a yard outside the woodwork, the echo painted it as clearly as chalk on a board.
In a worn notebook, a young Kenji had drawn this exact arc. The ghost of his own pencil guided his hands.
The laces, the breath, the heartbeat, they were never the enemy. The noise was, and I beat it.
Time resumed its cruel pace. The ball rocketed toward the edge of the frame, a white blur of destiny. Kenji's dive was beyond instinct now. It was a promise. His glove chased the sound into the empty space where the net never reached. Kenji's body extended fully horizontal, his glove reaching past the post into the void where no keeper ever trained.
The echo doesn't lie. It's bending away, pushed by the spin. I feel the air it displaces.
The ball whispered past the goalpost, a white blur that seemed magnetized to miss the net.
Out there. A yard past the frame. The sound pulls me, and I follow.
Time snapped back to normal. Leather met latex with a crisp, undeniable crack. The sound of impact drowned the stadium. A single point of clarity in the chaos. His palm pressed the ball, not to catch, but to redirect. A nudge toward the abyss.
I didn't save the goal. I erased it. The net was never in danger.
The ball spun away, a yard outside the woodwork, swallowed by the empty space that had become his domain. Kenji crashed to the earth, his body a crumpled testament, but his glove remained raised, the ball already a memory. The ball landed in a fan's lap, a relic from a dimension where physics had been rewritten, then silence. 60,000 people forgot how to breathe. The world had been paused by a mute.
The echo is sharp now. Every ear is a canvas. I can feel the shape of their silence.
Kenji rose and clicked his tongue. The sound cracked through the vacuum, clean and defiant. Victor stared at where the net should have been. His golden boots felt like concrete. Rio's face drained of color. The envelope he'd sold himself for was now a worthless confession.
Kenji, that wasn't a save, it was a declaration. You are an absolute wall.
The goalposts stood irrelevant, white frames that no longer defined the game. The sound had become the goal. The click was the first word of a new vocabulary. The mute had spoken, and the world was listening. But the match remained tied. Ryo stood alone near the spot, a silhouette of consequence, the game refusing to end. The silence shattered as Hamada's voice cracked through the stunned stadium. Huddle, now, all of you.
You saw what Kenji did. He carried us through the impossible. Now it's our turn to carry him.
I yelled at him earlier. I doubted him. Kenji, I am sorry. I'll follow your lead.
Kenji nodded once and pulled out his whiteboard. He drew a simple arrow, then pointed toward the far corner. Ryo lingered at the edge of the huddle, hands clasped behind his back. No one met his eyes. The gesture was clear. Press high, force the cross, and trust the keeper to read the echo. The goalposts became afterthoughts. They broke the huddle with a unified shout, a sound that drowned out the last of Victor's confidence.
For the first time, it felt like we were a team. Not 11 strangers, but one body with one pulse.
Kenji returned to his line, clicking softly. The pitch felt larger now, the net unnecessary. Ryo took up his spot, but the space around him was a quarantine. The veteran was now the outcast, his betrayal an invisible brand. The match reignited. Victor surged forward, but Kenji's clicks parsed every angle, every spin.
The crowd's roar has rhythm now. I slide my click between the beats, like a needle through fabric.
He tipped a point-blank header over, his glove grazing the striker's forehead.
Their clicks are joining mine. The noise is no longer a wall, but a web. I can use it.
A few home supporters clicked, then a section, then the whole stand, a percussive wave rolling toward the pitch.
Every click adds a brushstroke. The pitch is painting itself in sound.
He parried. Victor's next effort with ease. The ball meeting his glove like an old friend. The noise that once crippled him was now an amplifier. Each click from the stands sharpened the echo. The crowd and the keeper were one instrument. The goalposts became mere suggestions, the net an afterthought. For the first time, the mute keeper did not feel alone. He felt heard. The fourth official raised the board. Stoppage time. The scoreboard still glared 0-0-0, but hope was a single breath away. A foul just outside the box. Kenji clicked sharply. The echo drew an arrow in his mind. He signaled to Jin. Not a guess, but a command. The exact blade of grass where the ball must land.
He sees the gap. I can't. I'll put it there.
The free kick arced in, bending around the wall. Jin launched himself, neck muscles straining. Leather met forehead with a thunderous crack. The ball changed direction as if obeying a new law. It screamed past the keeper's gloves and kissed the inside of the net. Jin wheeled away, fists pumping, a roar tearing from his throat that could rival the crowd's. The stadium detonated. The clicking crowd now screamed in pure, unfiltered ecstasy. On the goal line, Kenji stood motionless. His plan, spoken in silence, had become the winning difference. The referee's whistle pierced the air in 3 sharp blasts. The match was over. Relegation was dead.
The sound of the whistle. It's the first time I've felt it as a caress, not a threat. Not a threat.
His teammates hoisted him onto their shoulders. Jin screamed his name like a prayer. Ryo tried to slip through the celebrating mass, but Jin's hand clamped onto his shoulder.
You thought you could delete these? The fixer's messages are still on the server.
That's not mine. Someone planted that.
The timestamp matches your meeting in the alley. The bet was placed from your IP address. You sold us.
The referee, still on the pitch, overheard and stalked over. His expression was granite. Security guards seized Ryo's arms. He thrashed, but the grip was iron. From his throne of shoulders, Kenji watched in silence. A single click echoed. A verdict heard by all. The public address System crackled. Every screen in the stadium flashed the same name. Man of the match, Kenji. Number 1. The crowd erupted anew, a thunderous validation. In the VIP section, men in tailored suits leaned forward. A scout from the capital whispered into a phone. Coach Hamada pushed through the throng, tears cutting paths through the grime on his cheeks.
I saw you on that broken pitch, Kenji. I saw the wall, but I never imagined you'd build a fortress.
He called me a wall before anyone else. Now the world sees what he saw.
Kenji gave a single sharp nod. No whiteboard needed. His answer was always in the click. The next morning's sports page bore a headline that rippled across the nation. Mute Keeper makes goalposts irrelevant, but Kenji's eyes swept past the headlines. He watched his teammates chanting his clicks, a language now shared.
The posts were never the goal. Belonging was. And I found it in the echo.
The press descended, cameras crowding the training ground. They called him the Echo Wall, a title born from the penalty that never was. A reporter shoved a microphone toward him. How do you stop shots you can't see?
They want words, but the ball's voice taught me everything. Why would I need to speak?
He clicked once. The crisp sound cut through the chatter, silencing the entire press pack. Dr. Sora stepped forward. He doesn't see the ball, he hears its shadow. The goalposts are an illusion to him. Overnight, the phrase "goalposts irrelevant" trended. Fans uploaded videos of themselves clicking, a global chorus.
They hear it now. The silence I lived in has become a chorus.
His whiteboard remained blank for days. The one time he lifted the marker, he drew a single sound wave. A package arrived from a deaf school, a captain's armband with the words "Lead us" without a sound. He slipped it on. The world now understood. The game belonged to the one who never spoke. Weeks bled into months. Ryo returned to the city a ghost, his suspension a brand. The old training ground pulled him like gravity. A sound reached him before the light. A sharp click, then another. Ricocheting off the cracked concrete, through the fog, he saw Kenji. The keeper was diving at invisible shots, goalposts long since removed. The echo was Kenji's compass. He threw himself low to the right, punching at air that was never empty.
That sound, it's the wall I tried to break. The wall that held.
Kenji landed and clicked once more. The pulse washed past Ryo, but the keeper did not turn.
He knows I am here. He hears my breath, my heartbeat. But silence is the only forgiveness I'll get.
Ryo turned and walked into the unlit streets. The echo chased him, a sound that would never leave. For Kenji, it was merely one note in a lifetime of them. The training resumed before the footsteps faded. The crumbling pitch held only one figure now, a mute keeper, and his click, the game's silent heartbeat. The old training ground had been reborn. Fresh turf, bright lamps, but the goalposts were gone. The club had decided they were unnecessary.
They understood. The posts were never my measure. This field is finally ready.
He clicked. The echo returned clean, unbent by rusted iron. The sound painted a perfect rectangle in his mind.
The first click I ever made was an accident. A bare room, a child's hand on a wall.
That echo had been a whisper of the world beyond silence. Now it was a language the world spoke back.
From that bare wall to this pitch, every click built a bridge. And now, I am not alone on it.
He began his routine, diving at phantoms made of sound. Each save was a celebration of a life unheard until now. The floodlights hummed. The grass barely rustled, and Kenji's clicks rolled across the empty stands. A rare smile touched his lips. It was the first expression of a man who had found his voice. The game had always belonged to the one who never spoke. And now, the world listened. The stadium stood empty, floodlights dimming one by one, until only a single glow remained over the goal line. Kenji stepped onto the fresh chalk and clicked once. The sound rippled outward, pure and unbroken, from a million screens. From living rooms and packed bars, The click returned. A wave of echoes that circled the globe.
The goalposts are just painted lines now. The game has evolved.
Where iron frames once stood, now only white paint remained. A border that no longer confined. His silence had become the loudest voice in the world.
I was born without a voice, but the world gave me theirs.
The stadium lights extinguished, leaving only the keeper and his echo. The click traveled beyond the stands, beyond the city. A solitary note that spoke for every voiceless dreamer. The game belonged to the one who never spoke, and his legend had just begun.